How's it going, everyone? I'm Adam Molina, and yes, they're finally here. We got a chance to check out the Jaybird Freedoms, which were announced earlier this year at CES. And man, are they... Well, we'll get to that. They have a brand new design, a new way of charging, and Jaybird even announced a new app to go along with them. So are they everything we've been waiting for? In the box, you'll get the headphones, 3 sets of wingtips, large, medium, and small, a charging cradle, a small micro USB cable, large, medium, and small silicone ear tips and Comply memory foam ear tips, cable management clips, a new soft shell carrying case, which I personally like way better than the hard shell one from the X2s, and the instruction booklet. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff. The first thing that you should immediately notice if you're familiar with Jaybird is the design. These have a new look to them that is much sleeker than the X2s. The earbuds are way slimmer now and have a rounded off design that's pretty gorgeous in my opinion. But this new design does come with its downsides though. The X2s had the battery in the earbuds themselves, which made them big and bulky. And now that bulk has found a new home in the control module, which is both good and bad. Good because now the earbuds are way slimmer, bad because now the control module isn't. The module is so bulky that the first time I wore them out on a run, it kept pulling the earbuds right out of my ears as if the wingtips weren't even there. After a terrible run, I went home and experimented with different ear tips and wingtips for literally an hour and still couldn't find any combinations that solved my issue. If I have to use 3 different clips just to get them to stay in my ears, maybe there's something wrong here. The earbuds also no longer have a micro USB input, so if you want to charge them, you have to snap the charging cradle onto the control module. It is annoying that the battery life is so short, more on that later, but including what is basically a portable charger for your headphones is pretty cool. When you attach the cradle, it gets way bulkier, but I actually think this is a good idea considering how short the battery life is. The biggest issue that I had with these was trying to get them to fit right. It turns out you have to use the cable clips as well as the ear tips as well as the wing tips if you want them to stay in. One of the best things about the headphones was the strong Bluetooth connection. I experienced no skipping during my runs and the connection stayed strong up to around 30 feet, which is pretty standard. There's also a new Jaybird My Sound app, which is pretty handy. Not only does it keep you up to date with how much battery you have left, but it also lets you fine-tune the EQ settings to your liking. You can browse through presets and even preview how they sound, including ones made by athletes. The presets then get saved to the earbuds themselves and not to the source device, so if you switch between devices, at least you can count on your music to sound the same. And unlike wired headphones, Bluetooth headphone controls aren't switched or disabled depending on your device, so whether you use Android or iOS, the playback controls work the same. You can pause and play music, skip between tracks, and even access Siri or Google Now. The battery life on the Freedoms are technically 8 hours if you use them with the charging cradle. However, in my usage, that was really unrealistic unless I was sitting at a desk. I prefer to use the charging cradle more as a portable battery to charge up the headphones when I wasn't using them, which means that battery life was more like 3.5 or 4 hours in everyday usage. If you go on runs longer than 3 or 4 hours, or if you just want to use them to get through the workday, the standalone battery life might not cut it and you're probably better off leaving the charging cradle attached. One thing that really affected sound quality was maximum output. These get really loud, so I use them at about 75% volume, which I think most people would find pretty comfortable. Besides that, I also made a flat EQ profile in the app, just to see how these headphones sound without any software enhancements. Even with a flat EQ profile, the Freedoms still have a good emphasis on bass, which is expected considering they're intended for fitness. That said, they weren't overdone, and even though they're stronger than I usually like, they were contained to the low end and didn't bleed into the mids, which is good. The mids, however, really seemed to take a hit this time around. Vocals and instruments don't have a huge amount of detail to them and almost sound kind of muffled, especially in songs like Life is Wonderful by Jason Mraz, where it starts off acoustic and brings in more instruments halfway through. The detail kind of gets lost as the song goes on. Again, these do get really loud, and purely because of that, the highs tend to be somewhat piercing unless you dramatically lower the volume. Regardless of the song, if you keep these on max volume, you're going to find more than a few harsh sounds. Overall, the Jaybird Freedoms are just fine. They don't have an amazing sound, but you can kind of fix that through the app. They don't have an amazing fit, but if you struggle enough with the accessories, you'll probably find something that'll work for you. And they don't have an amazing battery life, but again, you could probably fix that with the charging cradle. It's like Jaybird didn't fix any of the issues with these headphones and instead found clever workarounds to them. If you don't mind working around them either, the Jaybird Freedoms could be your next headphones. For me, I'm going to wait for the X3s. We're giving the Jaybird Freedoms an 8 out of 10. And that pretty much wraps up our review of the Jaybird Freedoms. Thanks for watching. If you want to know more about these headphones, make sure to check out the full written review over at SoundGuys.com. While you're here, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and sign up to our monthly newsletter so you can stay up to date with all the newest reviews and audio news here at SoundGuys. That's also where we do our monthly giveaways, so you might want to do that. Links to all of that down there in the description. I'm Adam Molina. I'll see you later.